Recording in progress.
Welcome, everyone. This is the March 26th, 2024 Planning Commission meeting. It is on.
Yep.
Oh, I have to speak into it too. Repeating myself, Planning Commission meeting of Tuesday, March 26th, 2024. I'm moving stuff around here. We didn't do a field trip. So let's have a roll call, please.
Sure. Chair Dawson,
Yes.
Vice Chair Bluth,
Here.
Commissioner Brassfield,
Present.
Commissioner Fletcher.
Here.
Commissioner Freeman.
Here.
Commissioner Latassa,
Here.
and Commissioner Silva.
Here.
I can go ahead and announce staff members present if you'd like.
Please.
We have our planning manager, Levi Hill. We have senior associate planner, Chris Schmidt, and we have myself, recording secretary, Barrera. And if you'd like, I can go ahead and let the public know how they can participate via Zoom.
Yes, thank you.
Sure. Information on participating in this meeting and providing public comment, including remotely by Zoom or telephone, is on this meeting's agenda, which is online at isearchmonterey.org. Remote commenters will be muted until it's their turn to speak, and a timer will be shown on the screen. If you're connected on Zoom, the timer is accurate with no delay. In the chamber, we recommend keeping cell phones and devices muted to prevent audio interference with the meeting. Thank you for participating in your city government.
Thank
Back
you.
to you.
Consent agenda, approval of minutes from February 27th. Has everyone had a chance to review those? Can I have a
Motion to
motion?
approve.
Motion to
We'll
approve.
need to make sure there's no one in the public that would like to speak on the consent agenda.
Is there anyone in the public who'd like to comment on last time's minutes? No. Seeing none.
There are no hands raised
No
online.
hands raised over there? No. Okay, so you have a motion,
I'll second.
second for Dan. Roll call, please.
Sure. Chair Dawson,
Yes.
Vice Chair Bluth,
Yes.
Commissioner Brassfield,
Yes.
Commissioner Fletcher,
Yes.
Commissioner Freeman,
Yes.
Commissioner Latassa,
I guess I'll recuse. I wasn't there.
and Commissioner Silva.
Yes.
Okay, that's approved with a vote of 6.
General public comments. The public may speak at any time on any item that is not on the agenda and that is in the city of Monterey subject matter jurisdiction. Is there any public comments either in here or online? No,
There's still no hands raised online.
no hands up?
Correct.
Okay, how about go to item number 3, consider 300 Cannery Row, floodplain development permit, MFPD 21-1749, and request for variance to MCC section 9-71.5 coastal high hazard areas for a modified foundation design. Can we have a staff report on this, please?
Yes, today we're going to have our building official, Lori Lynn Williamson, presenting this item.
Yes.
This will be our building official, Lori Williamson, presenting this item.
Oh, okay, good. Thank you, Lori.
Yes, thank you, and members of the Planning Commission. Before you today, we have 300 Cannery Row, and they have applied for a variance for a modified foundation design for a proposed reuse of the Aeneas sardine packing building. Yeah.
You should know that several of us up here have seen this same building about 5 times.
Yeah, my understanding is that there was a planning approval in 2018
Yeah,
for the project. Today, this is before the Planning Commission per section 972.2.1 of the city code, which stipulates that the Planning Commission is the entity to hear and decide appeals and requests for variances for this ordinance, the floodplain development ordinance. And then further stipulates that the planning commission should consider all technical evaluations, all relevant factors, standards specified in other sections of the ordinance, and then the factors that we have taken from the ordinance and included in the staff report. So an introduction to the project, basically, a development permit is required before construction for any project that's within an area of special flood hazard areas. The subject property is located within the high coastal hazard area designated Zone VE, and the applicant therefore applied for a development permit in December of 2021. Unfortunately, we were unable to issue a development permit because the plans as designed do not meet the requirements for an open foundation, which is a requirement in the coastal high hazard area. So in this slide, we have a site map showing the address location. It's situated between the Monterey Plaza Hotel and another a building that it shares a wall with. And you can see in the elevation from Google Earth on the right there that the foundation is really essentially a seawall that is solid around the perimeter. And that's the existing foundation from the buildings built in 1945, I believe. This foundation is one unique property of the site is that it's on granite bedrock. And I think over the years that has contributed to a lack of erosion. The site has been able to maintain that foundation. So when they were unable to obtain the development permit, they hired Haruka and Associates, which is a geotechnical and a coastal development engineer. And they looked at the feasibility of trying to design a compliant foundation and essentially concluded that they would have to demolish the entire building in order to put the proper pilings underneath for the proposed project. This building is listed on the state historic register of historic resources. And with that, that means that the variance does not have to comply with certain conditions of approval. So those conditions have not been provided in the staff report. Only just certain factors have to be considered when you're looking at this this proposal. And also I would point out that this elevation here shows that the base flood elevation for which the building structural members have to be designed above is way down. If you see the yellow highlight on the bottom of the screen, but that's the level where the building has to be elevated above that point. So the building as it is already meets that criteria. And that's really the principal criteria for this zone, aside from the open foundation requirement. So with that, in the staff report, we had listed several findings. I'm going to skip to the other slide. Here's section 9-72.2.3. These are the listing of the findings that have to be the factors that would need to be considered. And some of them do not apply. They've all been addressed in the staff report, but basically it's the accessibility for emergency vehicles during a flood event, considering danger to life and property due to flooding and erosion, and then the danger to the occupants of the building. And I think that Haruka just made a very good argument that the design, which includes retrofitting and reinforcing that existing seawall and enhancing the foundation and installing additional abutments. It does look like they've come up with a design that should be able to resist erosion and support the building for many more years to come. So I'm going to step back here. So with that, in order to findings of approval, because the subject property is located on the list of state historic resources, this variance may be issued without regard to conditions specified in section 9-72.3 of the city code. And that the technical evaluations and relevant factors as required in section 9-72.2.3 have been considered. And with that, the staff is recommending that the commission adopt a resolution approving the floodplain development permit MFPD 21-1749 with a variance to section 9-71.5 of the city code to allow a modified foundation design at 300 Cannery Row in a coastal high hazard zone. And I'd be happy to take any questions if you have.
Questions for staff?
I got a couple. Do you know of other buildings on the coast that are not on piers or columns?
I do not, well, I was gonna say maybe over at the Monterey Tides Hotel.
Huh.
But in that vicinity, like the Plaza Hotel next door is on pilings. And the other building next door is also on pilings.
Okay.
Um,
Other question, the 75-year standard, does that begin when the development permit is issued?
The 75-year standard, I'm not sure
If approved, the estimated life of the building would be designed to meet the 75-year standard. That's number 2 on the findings.
let me go back. I'm not sure which findings that is.
It was danger to life and property due to flooding or erosion damage.
Yeah, that's coming out of the finding number 2. And yes, that would be after the improvement to the foundation was made.
Great, great. I have to say, I think there's
Oh.
at least 4 of us who were on the commission when it was approved. Very exciting.
Yeah.
5 years ago.
I have some questions. Or
Sure.
one question.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lori. So I guess, has the city attorney reviewed this project at all?
Back in 2021, when it was submitted, we had consulted with the city attorney. We had reached out to folks with the state, I don't know if it was the Department of Water Resources and FEMA. And really tried to do a lot of research on the situation. At that time, we didn't realize that it was on the historic list. So there were additional conditions that would have had to be met. But we do recognize that the site does have some unique characteristics in the fact that the bedrock that the seawall is sitting on kind of, adds to the ability of the site to withstand erosion. And it's, the building's been there since 1945 and the foundation is held up considerably well. It needs some work, but it's stood the test of time through storms and such.
Okay, well, I guess my question is more about, sea level rise is coming, and the city, I guess usually with property development, the city doesn't really have liability. But has anybody looked at the city's, are there extra conditions that could be added to the approval saying, okay, this all meets current codes, but the city has no liability. It's, you get where I'm going with this?
Yeah, I believe as a condition of the variance, and I'd have to recall where in the city code this is, but they will have to, the people that occupy the building that when they purchase those condominium units, there will be language in the deed about flood insurance
No deed.
requirements, not being applicable. There'll be other things that they won't be able to
Right. But the staff doesn't feel like there's any statement needed about how, the owner takes some of their own, risks as
Yeah,
far as liability goes.
it's certainly something that could be, considered.
Okay, no, I don't see anything in it right now. That's just a question. Okay, thank you.
Lori, I have a quick question, and that is just, I wasn't here when this was approved by Planning Commission back in 2018. It seems to me, though, that given the fact that that was a discretionary review type of a permit, wouldn't the action on the Planning Commission at that point also would have considered the floodplain development permit? In other words, my question is, why is there two separate discretionary reviews on this project instead of just one?
Sure, I can answer that. It was first brought to our attention after they had the planning approval, then they went to the Coastal Commission. And my understanding is that the Coastal Commission required that they get their development permit before that they could get the next approval. And so that's when the plans came to us in the building department, and we reviewed them for conformance with the criteria that for that coastal zone. So at that point, after we did all this consulting and research and coordination, and they went to their engineers and, did some technical analysis and studies, that's when they finally came to the point that they felt the variance was their best option for keeping the project alive.
Thank you, Lori.
Mike, no? Dan? Nothing? I thought I'd remark about the fact that this building being on the state register and I guess the national register gives you kind of a get things done easily off.
It adds a value to the property there's a public value to preserving it, in that sense. I don't know if it, gets you off easy, but, they still have to, consider all these factors here. There's like 11 of them
Yeah.
a dozen of them.
Well, I hope it works. Comments? Comments
Yeah.
from,
Oh.
comments from the peanut gallery? Please.
And the applicant's here as well, so we'll open it up for them.
So my name is Melanie Griswold, and I represent the owners. I'm also here with Paul Davis on the architectural team.
We saw your name somewhere in the
And
report.
yeah, on the letter, I think. Yeah. And Moses Cooperl, who's here from the coastal engineer, who's here to answer any of your technical questions. And I know that many of you have been on the project much, much longer than me. I've only recently come to the table on this, but this site has been so challenging because on the one hand, you have a California state historic resource. On the other hand, you've got requirements that we just cannot meet without basically dismantling this building and taking away all of the historic integrity that makes it on the California State Historic Register. So when the project initially came to the city in 2021 for a floodplain development permit, at the time, we didn't realize that the resource was actually listed on the California Historic Register, which gives more flexibility to the Planning Commission, Building Department to make findings of a variance. And that makes sense because you do have historic buildings. They're not going to be built up to current standards. That's kind of almost the point of historic buildings. But on the other hand, we want to be able to improve them and we want to be able to preserve them. So what we have proposed here is a solution that we think will provide that longevity to the building. And it is a situation where it's not just that, we're saying this to be able to get a development permit, but the ownership group is going to put a significant amount of money into improving the building. And so we want to make sure that this building is something that will last, that will have a great value to the city, and that will continue to have that feeling of what makes it so special. So we believe that the alternative that we've proposed, while it doesn't meet all of the letter of the law here in terms of the breakaway walls, but it is much better than leaving it unimproved And we believe that it is a safe alternative that will account for the changes in climate. And if you have any other questions, we're here to answer any of those questions.
Any questions? No.
I'm just curious, how many units do you think you'll be able to put in there?
8 is what's planned.
Same number. Yeah. I guess no more questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Are there any hands raised?
There are currently no hands raised
No
online.
hands raised? Okay, comments? Dan?
Well, from
You want to ask Paul to say something?
Let's confirm that there's no other members in the chambers that would like to speak on the item, members of the public.
Did you understand that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Comments from the audience? As opposed to the owner? No?
Okay,
Okay.
I think we can close the public hearing.
Okay, closing the public. Comments from the,
Well, I'll start. It's an easy one for me. Was in support of it the last time around and in support of it this time around. So I definitely vote in favor.
okay,
I'm just glad we have positive progress.
Yeah.
again. Comments?
Yeah, it seems like a great idea. Getting more housing units is certainly a big goal of the city, and it's a wonderful reuse of an historic resource, and it's been there for almost 80 years. And I think that's a sign that it's going to be there for probably 75 more. So excellent idea for that location.
I'll say the same thing that Dan did. I was so enthusiastic the last time and enthusiastically yes, this time too.
I agree with what's been said. I have dealt with Haro Kusunich before, and I found them to be extremely conservative. So they're a really appropriate engineer for this issue. And they're super, super cautious and conservative. So I think they really do know this coastline and the engineering issues. So I trust their advice.
I share the comments of the other commissioners. I think that this is a situation where it's a no-brainer for us to approve this, since there's already been momentum in the past to get this thing going. And it's unfortunate that we had to go through a variance procedure as opposed to just having some other mechanism within the codes to allow them to do this without having to come before us. So anyway, I'm in support.
Thank you. Can we have a motion?
I'll make a motion. We accept the recommendation.
We
I'll
have
second that.
Second from. Okay, can we have a roll call?
Sure. Chair Dawson,
Yes.
Vice Chair Blue,
Yes.
Commissioner Brassfield,
Aye.
Commissioner Fletcher,
Yes.
Commissioner Freeman,
Yes,
Commissioner Latassa,
Yes.
and Commissioner Silva.
Yes.
Okay, that motion carries unanimously. The decision is appealable within 10 days to the city council. We have applications online or in our planning office.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
again.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Moving right along to item number 4. As the crowd departs. Okay, item number 4. Consider 774 Wave Street, use permit application UP 23-0151 to allow live entertainment / dancing with type 90 ABC license and mobile food vending on private property exceeding 2 hours. Applicant Rhett Smith, owners Rhett Smith and Judith Smith, C2H2 zoning district. Commercial general plan use designation exempt from CEQA per Article 19. Staff report, please.
Yes, thank you, Chair Dawson. My name is Chris Schmidt. I'm a senior associate planner for the city of Monterey, and I've been working with the applicant and owner on this project. So we are looking at a use permit for live entertainment, alcohol sales, and mobile food vending on site. So to begin, the staff recommendation is to adopt a resolution approving a use permit with conditions of approval. Just some background about the site. As the chair mentioned, it is zoned C2 with an H2 overlay. That's our local historic overlay. This is the Kwakmoe House, and the owners have significantly renovated this starting in the early 2000s with their original project. So the project has a general plan designation of commercial, and it's located in the Cannery Row area on Wave Street, between Wave Street and the Recreation Trail. Just some further background. So in 2003, I believe, use permit P03-250 was approved, and it was approved to allow a commercial recreation and entertainment use, which the primary use was an audio, video, and photography production studio, as well as retail and office on site. But the studio would be allowed to do live set recordings, live music recordings with a studio audience of up to 50 people for 2 hours, 2 to 3 times per week. And the project also, as I mentioned, included renovation of the historic home. So it was a mixed use project, and the owners live there today. What we're looking at here today is an expansion of that use to a live entertainment and dancing use. This is a use that's defined in the city code. And it would include unlimited indoor and outdoor public ticketed music events with alcohol sales using a new ABC Alcohol Beverage Control Department Type 90 license that is meant for music venues. This new license, which I believe debuted in 2023, allows sales for 2 hours before a ticketed event and until 1 hour after that event. And again, this is for music venues. The applicant is also looking to do private events such as music events, weddings, parties, or other sorts of events with up to 150 customers on site, using outdoor seating and staging for caterers and food trucks. The hours of operation would continue to be what was approved with the original permit, 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. They've also requested to have mobile food vendors able to operate on site for more than 2 hours. If you recall, the current city code standard is that private mobile food vendors who operate on private property can only operate for 2 hours unless a use permit is granted. So that is that request. The applicant did request that vendors are able to operate from 12 noon to 8 p.m. daily. He's since realized that the city code allows from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. daily. Staff has no issue with that change, and that will be a suggestion later in this PowerPoint. And then again, continuation of the existing recording studio use and allowing recording of live events would also occur. And so here we see a small site plan, but you on the left-hand side, you have the Wave Street frontage. So the historic home is located here where you can see my cursor. Here's the driveway. And then the studio and events use would be on the lower level, which is fronts the recreation trail on the right-hand side. There's a floor plan showing a sample of a potential seating configuration. And here you can see on the left-hand side, as I mentioned, the recording studio. It has they're showing a temporary stage. There's a broadcast booth, restroom, isolation rooms. On the right-hand side, I think had previously been used for retail uses, but that would be used for food service and other types of entertainment-related use. And then the exterior here would be additional seating as necessary based on the event. And the applicant supplied a couple of photos. These two were shown in the packet. On the left is an example of where caterers had staged at the Wave Street frontage. And then on the right side is a bird's eye view of kind of a seating configuration that could occur for an event. And then here's another photo of the interior of the studio and just showing basically a seating arrangement. So in order to approve a use permit, the planning commission has to make 3 findings. The first is that the proposed use is in accord with the objectives of this chapter and the purposes of the zone, the C2 zone. Staff made this finding: the live entertainment and dancing, as well as the mobile food vending for more than 2 hours is permitted by use permit. The applicant did supply a noise study confirming that an event could comply with the city's noise standards. The second finding is that the proposed use and the proposed condition under which it would be operated or maintained will be consistent with the general plan, will not be detrimental to the public health, safety, or welfare of persons residing or working in or adjacent to the neighborhood of such use, and will not be detrimental to properties or improvements in the vicinity or to the general welfare of the city. Staff did make this finding and found that this proposed use is commercial in nature, and it is consistent with some of the general plan economic element policies, namely those in support of having local small business, as well as one that I'd like to call out, general plan economic element policy A1, which recommends encouraging a balance between the economy, preservation of natural and historic resources, and preservation of residential areas and services. So this is a historic site, and this is a way to have people on site and view that historic site. The last finding is that the proposed use will comply with any specific condition required for that use. Staff has included special conditions in addition to the standard conditions, and I'll briefly go over some of these. So the first one I'm actually showing is payment of parking fees required by permit P03-250. This was a requirement at the time the applicant applied for a parking adjustment, and it was not clear that those fees had been paid. It's been since come to our attention that the applicant has engaged in a contract with the city to pay those fees and has consistently paid them. So staff is recommending removal of that permit. The next is that the use is subject to the noise performance standards in the city, in the zoning ordinance. The accessible parking shall be provided as shown on the 2003 plans. That's on the Wave Street frontage. No deliveries can be done over the recreation trail. Public access be available from the recreation trail from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. The use permit may be reopened at the discretion of the community development director. Planning commission review of the use permit after 12 months. Outdoor food service related and mobile food vending requirements. These are city code requirements that have been reestablished in the use permit conditions, as well as standard conditions. And then the applicant did also reach out to staff this week and wanted to just clarify some of the conditions, and I did add some of these here that staff is going to recommend revising to, just to make it clear. And so the applicant questioned whether he would only be live recordings of a studio audience of up to 50 people for 2 hours, 2 to 3 times per week. Staff doesn't necessarily think that should be required. He can record larger events if his client is supportive of that. As I mentioned, the mobile food vending service from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. rather than starting at noon. And with that, staff recommends the planning commission approved. I'm available for questions. And then actually, I take it back. I will also note this project did receive quite a bit of support in the form of public comment. I think there were 28 letters submitted to the city. I believe all of them in support. So I just want to note that. And then with that, staff recommends approval. Thank you.
I'm just going to add one single point of clarification to that. So as Chris noted, there was some confusion as far as the parking adjustment fees and what had been paid. And there was a condition of approval that was included in the draft resolution requiring payment of those fees prior to any commercial operation of the property. So what staff is recommending changing is that payment of the fees in full prior to commercial operation of the property. We want to be clear, there's still, the applicant is on a payment plan with the city under a contract. So of course, we'd still like to require the continuation of that payment plan. But just want to strike the part of as far as when commercial operations can begin on the site. So just wanted to make that clarification.
Thank you. Questions for staff? Peter?
Chris, thank you for your presentation. My question relates to water credits, and staff report indicates under the background paragraph that water was allocated from the city, I guess back sometime in 2008. But that was when the project was not this project. It was simply a audio, video, and recording studio, but it didn't have live entertainment. So has there been consideration about analyzing the available water to account for the live entertainment and the increased capacity?
Yeah, that's a great question. I have engaged with the Monterey Peninsula Water Management District staff about this, and they are supportive with the use so long as basically the water use is limited to use of restrooms or providing small amounts of water to customers. Water for cooking and other caterers and food trucks has to be brought in. The caterers have to wash their dishes and other things off-site at their location.
So along the same line of questioning, if you can go back to the slide that showed the floor plan, the proposed floor plan. Okay, so I'm not sure how many toilets and lavatories are there currently, but my understanding of the plumbing code is that once you exceed a certain number of occupants, you have to also provide for additional water fixtures, more lavatories, more toilets, urinals, that sort of thing. So wouldn't that bump up the water requirements?
Yeah, that's a good question. We do have a requirement that the project has to comply with the building code, and we can talk to the building official about what at this occupancy and this number of people, how many restrooms are required.
Okay, thank you.
Question?
Yeah, thanks, Chris. Good presentation. So can you go over the where this mobile truck on the site plan, where the mobile truck is, food truck is going to be, and how that relates to the ADA parking?
Yeah, so I didn't show the 2003 site plan here, but the original ADA parking space was kind of where I'm showing my cursor here. There was another parking space here, and then there was a compact space designated here. And so so long as they can keep some of these spaces open, whether it's putting your food truck in this lower space or ensuring that whichever space is going to be used as an ADA space is compliant with the requirements, I think that's the intent.
Okay. I mean, it sort of goes back to the point that Peter was just raising. The building department might want to have a look at the ADA parking issue in relation to this application, while they also look at the bathroom issue, because it would be a pity to go through this whole process and then have them realize, oh, we have to add bathrooms. A lot of jurisdictions allow porta potties, for certain events and that sort of thing. But anyways, that's all. Thank you.
Is the food truck going to be in the parking lot or is it going to be on the street?
It would be on private property.
Okay.
Tomas? No? Dan? Mike?
Food truck. I understand the water concerns, but it's actually kind of a shell game, because if those people live in the city of Monterey, we're just moving the water use from the site to their homes or another site. This is not an answer to the problem, it's just moving the problem. I do have concerns on that. The second is, as evidenced by our previous presentation, we're getting more and more people down there. And if this music is gonna go till 11, we're going to be getting similar complaints that we had with the bar downtown. And I don't think we're addressing that. I see it as, once again, a moving problem. That we're just moving it from where we had it before down to our entertainment area. I appreciate that, Cannery Row. But we still have the same issue.
Is the owner operator guy in charge?
You have a way to present a picture? Hi. Yeah, it's hard to hear the comments. There's 4 commercial bathrooms at Wave Street. So there's plenty of bathrooms. That's always been true. There's also a bathroom in the house, so there's five total bathrooms. The building is a cast concrete Burbank quality television production facility. So when we say we're meeting the 65 dB and our only neighbor is the Intercontinental Hotel, and we've been functioning as a music venue for 17 years without a single complaint, I think it's pretty clear that we're not the Bluefin move down the street or, I know that Sly's is 4 times louder and so is the Salty Seal. So we actually do comply with the sound ordinance, but that's not necessarily, so I don't see that as being a problem at all. On the handicap parking space, the handicap parking space is actually for the resident in the future. There's no public parking on the property. All that is done through parking fees and the ample parking that happens when the aquarium people go home. So we kind of have an off use. We're there in the evening and very little during the day per se. And so all the spaces open up before that. And the parking structure is only less than a block away, the Cannery Row public parking structure. This is what we started with. So this is the Kwok Moi house. Kwok Moi is the first locally born Chinese American. Her brother's the first Chinese American voter in Monterey County. And this house used to belong to, was lived in by Jacques Loeb and also was owned by the original Hopkins at the Hopkins Marine Station. And it was moved to this site in somewhere between 1906 and 1919, according to Hopkins. So the house is probably the only preserved property that tells that story. The project was 3 years of construction. It was pretty tricky to add a commercial use to a historic structure that couldn't be taken down. It was all done using the Secretary of the Interior standards. We're ending up parking on the roof of the studio. This is what it looks like now. So quite an addition so it was $1.5 million to put this building on that location, and then $2.5 million of carrying it during the 22 years of not being able to get water. So we're $4 million in, and we haven't really been able to use the studio as a studio yet. This is the control room in the building. So, unlike a bar, this is a music venue. We have a music venue liquor license. So this is you serve liquor in order to get an audience. It's not you get up in the morning and you try and figure out how to sell alcohol. You need to have a ticketed event to sell alcohol. And, I think we can all agree that there's not a lot to do after 6 in Monterey, and especially for bands that would travel here from, say, Yoshi's in San Francisco or Freight and Salvage, quality artists who are coming here to get recorded and broadcast worldwide.
And this is just a reminder of Jerry Lo Sabado that is, was my close friend, and she worked with me on the history. I live in Click Kwakmoy's house. That's just the way it is. I feel that every day. So how did this get here? Well, in September of 22, the state of California created the Type 90 license to invigorate live music in California. In June of 2023, I received the support of the Water Management District with Mary Adams' help. So we all sat there and we all agreed that serving alcohol to a music audience is not a new water. Then in August of 23, I was finished paying for and received the Type 90 license from the ABC, which was unopposed. So the Intercontinental, the only impacted possible building, and all my neighbors thought it was a great idea. They had a chance to say, let's not have a liquor license, let's not have music, let's not have activity at Wave Street. They didn't do that. And then in July of 2023, in February of 2024, we had the support of the staff at the city of Monterey that this use permit met all the conditions for the city. So there's not too many property owners on Cannery Row. So I think Cannery Row is maybe 80–90% Cannery Row company.
Yep.
So let me say who I am, because who is this guy? My name's Rhett Smith. I designed, I own, and I built, and I operate the business with my wife and my family. It's a eco-modern mixed-use infill commercial building that is beyond LEED certified and is a historic rehabilitation. It meets 40 conditions of the city's general plan and is the actual embodiment of the city's mission and vision statement. And in my view, it's arguably the finest small-scale commercial development in the history of the city. This property is 50 by 85 feet. And we're talking about all this stuff happening in that tiny space. And the house is still the predominant architectural feature on the site. It was 2 years of digging. We did 1,200 yards of excavation in order for that to happen. I was born at the old Carmel Hospital. I went to Bay School. I don't know if any of you know where that is. Okay. My dad's an architect. His dad was an architect. His dad was an architect. I opened my first company and bought my first house at 19. I'm a husband, a father, a lifelong learner, an entrepreneur. And I'm telling you that because I think that this demonstrated work ethic, focus, level of responsibility, and entrepreneurial character are exactly what we want from this community. I am the native son. I went to Carmel High, Carmel Middle School, Carmel Wood School, Bay School. This is what you hope to have created. This is the person you want to create in this community. Here I am. In 2002, when we bought the property, the goal was to build a world-class studio soundstage for filming, recording before a live studio audience. And unfortunately, water hasn't been available for literally a generation. I've been waiting 22 years, biggest loser in Monterey's history. So my business is older than SpaceX or Tesla. And I can imagine, how frustrating that would be to be me and have to wait 22 years to get water in order to have a music venue where I could pay a staff, invite talent that would be a blessing for our community, and operate, properly. And then the other thing is that, growing up here, one of the constraints is there's really a lack of community-friendly spaces, especially for young people, to be creative, learn skills, and be successful. I've been teaching the media arts with high school, the colleges, and seniors for the last 17 years. And there's a in the letter that I wrote the commission, you can see the list of past clients, which include the DLI, Clint Eastwood, the Naval Postgraduate School, all the local schools from the whole county, from Gonzales to wherever. Santa Catalina, Palma, Notre Dame, Carmel High, PG High, all the schools have enjoyed Wave Street. So that's mostly all I have to say about the property. I do have one concern that I don't know, maybe it was addressed, maybe it wasn't addressed, but it's kind of the idea, you can show that. In 2003, the property was, the idea was that in order to have rec trail access, you should be able to go from the rec trail to see the historic house. And the language on the resolution, it basically claims that the patio, which has the heated bench and the whole downstairs, is public. And so public access. And so I'm concerned that I'll have no ability to control the audience that goes onto my patio, that it's no longer private property. Somebody can say, hey, I'm entitled to public access space. I can sit on the bench during a private event. When in reality, the goal was to get from the rec trail to the house. And so I have language for that. And then Chris, I don't know if the catering issue with that caterers can't cook or prepare food on the site. And what I would like to be able to propose is that no site supply water may be used for cooking food or preparing or for food preparation within the historic residence or commercial building. All food preparation related cleaning shall be conducted in the mobile food vending vehicle, tent, or caterers off-site. So we've been doing this for 17 years. We don't have a sink, so the caterer has not used our sink, and we function beautifully. So there's food prep and cooking doesn't involve water at Wave Street. I appreciate the idea that the food truck is just kicking the can down the road, but 22 years without water for me is like, can we come up with a solution that we can have as a city where we can get this venue to work, the TV can work, the training can work, the culture can be respected, and the investment that I made in this historic property, have a chance to come to fruition. I started the property when I was 40, I'm 62 now. So I hope I have enough energy to actually get to this next phase. Anyway, I appreciate your time. Keep going.
Okay, it's time, I guess, for the audience to have a little say. And how many would like to speak? How about 2 minutes per? And if you'd line up over here, we can make it happen a little quicker.
Evening, y'all. My name is Dennis Murphy. I'm a business owner. Dennis Murphy School of Music. We're in our 14th year. We serve about 150 people a week, ages 6 to adult. I've been around the world, played many, many venues, been in the bar business for all my life. And I played theaters, amphitheaters, arenas. And I can say without question, this is a super unique opportunity for the artists that I could bring to this thing. And I believe it's right for the city, for sure. Beyond that, what I'm bringing to this, and I do have a vested interest, is Brett and I have talked about a program that I would bring artists through here monthly. And it would be a talk show, not on like Jimmy Fallon or something, certainly not on that level, but it would be that kind of a thing. And I've already lined up 4 artists to come. You guys willing with your policies. And that show would entail it wouldn't work with the old parameters. It wouldn't work with a 50-person audience. It's feasible with 65 and the numbers that Brett has asked for. So, and that would be sold to PBS, NPR, that kind of thing. So we would be represented well in this town with this venue. At least my show, I want to do it at highest quality, and there would be interviews, and I have also have great expertise on acoustics, on sound, playing bars, playing venues that encroach other venues. This does not do that. This is a really tight, the buildings, the brick walls, it's just doesn't escape like it does Sly's. I played every place here for 40 years. I played with Jake Stock, for God's sake, you know what I mean? So I've played places and I know the difference. This place is real, and I encourage you to run this.
Thank you for your comment. Yes, sir.
Good evening. My name is Sloan Campy. I'm a resident of Monterey, but I'm here on behalf of Michaela Kenster, who is the owner operator of Pop and Hiss in Pacific Grove. And we know this we know this timeline very well because we went through the same thing in Pacific Grove with the Type 90 license, and we were approved by the Planning Commission there. And what Wave Street is doing is very similar to what we're trying to do in Pacific Grove as well. Everything, all of the sentiments and all the things that Rhett mentioned, we are vastly in support of as fellow music lovers, as fellow entrepreneurs who want to create something unique. And this Type 90 license gives us that avenue to do it. I've been to several special events at Wave Street Studios, and I can say that definitively that everything that Red is saying is absolutely true. They have catered there, and it is an underutilized space in the music and recording community. And I just want to say as well that we know we've been through this. Michaela and I went through this very much. And it was a struggle to go through it with this new type of license. But that is what this new license is allowing us to do, is open these doors for venues such as this. Everyone who's been working with Michaela over at Pop and Hiss would agree with all the sentiments that Rhett has to say. I personally have seen the space function beautifully, as he said as well. So with that being said, we over in Pacific Grove are very much in support of this, and we hope that you will find this to approve it. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Hi, my name is Foster Smith, and my parents are Rhett and Judy. And I was 3 years old when they first bought the property and developed the historic house into the building that we see today. I believe that my parents are wonderful examples of patience and creativity and hardworking individuals. And I am always excited to see what they can do with the community that they have created. And I'm excited to see what we're able to do with the Type 90 license. And specifically, I went to Humboldt, Cal Poly Humboldt, and I studied environmental studies. And so I'm also inspired that Wave Street is a certified green business, and that we catch our rainwater and water our plants with the rainwater. And we try and use compostable cups, and we try and do everything we can to help the environment as well as support our community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, just wanted to clarify, I'm the owner and that's the owner's husband. I'm Judy Smith, sorry, not myself. I'm just so proud of my husband with what he has designed and built with Wave Street Studios. Our goal was to design, build, and operate a facility that supports itself and creates sustainable economic opportunities for local entering teachers, artists, speakers, dancers, musicians, and scientists. The design honors and preserves the Chinese American history of the property. It demonstrates and encourages sustainable living. As my son mentioned, we are actually innovator level of the certified green business. I think that means that they're happy to come and have meetings at our place. The property provides a low carbon lifestyle for its owners. The building educates and delights visitors and residents. I don't know if you've been there, but it has a lovely radiantly heated bench outside on the patio. A lot of fun for the tourists as they go by. It offers a safe space for our community to share and be together. Wave Street Studios was designed to adhere to the City of Monterey's development guidelines, including the city's mission and vision statements, and it meets more than 40 of its conditions of the city's general plan. So thank you so much for your consideration. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, commissioners. My name is Garrett Harden. I'm an upcoming film director, video producer, as well as a 21-year-old student of cinematic arts and technology at CSU Monterey Bay. Rhett has helped me incredibly this last year in terms of pursuing my own artistic potential. Last year, he allowed me on no expense of his own to host a live talk show for 5 episodes in the studio, allowing me to, he both mentored me in how to use a studio of that space, which is, it's really the only place in Monterey that has a live recording studio as such. He allowed other students from CSUME to come in and help to mentor them as well. And, you know, the stories that we were able to tell and the culture that we were able to bring back to Monterey in terms of getting stories from the local, the public, I see it as being something that can last on into the future of Monterey. In terms of what I see can be beneficial from this request to the council is that basically the studio is amazing. We were able to run a full live talk show there. He was able to train us on cameras. And my only hope is that we have more opportunities for students as well as the connecting resources of filmmaking around Monterey, the Monterey Film Commission, the MPC Film Club, CSU Monterey Bay, tons of different spots to really connect. And I see, you know, Wave Street Studios as being a primary source of, you know, investing in our students and our youth and the economic value of filmmaking in Monterey. So thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Hi, Commissioners. My name is Stone, born in Wattsville, raised in Moss Landing, and didn't expect really to talk. I just did want to say what everyone else is saying, that I fully support Red trying to get his license. I think there's a lot of opportunity with the studio having actually went there in my high school prom back in the day and seeing it grow now through Garrett's recording, talk show and all that. And I just feel like it would bring a lot of business. I think a lot of life to Cannery Row. Not to say that it's not living now, but yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Hello, good evening, commissioners. My name is Nina Parks. I came and drove down here from Pacifica to support Rhett and his project over at Wave Street Studios. I am an events organizer, an artist, and an entrepreneur. My business partner actually introduced me to Wave Street Studios because he had his wedding there. And we had this opportunity to create an event during the same time as Cali Roots this year. And we would love to be able to go through that event, given that he gets his permit. But for us, it's like being able to bring down some other entrepreneurs, business owners, artists that are also performing at bigger venues into smaller venues, and like hopefully being able to help to contribute to the economic vitality of Cannery Row and the surrounding businesses. So I'm here in support of Rhett's project over at Wave Street Studios. Thank you.
Thank you.
Greetings, fellow community servants. My name is Sufyan Karim. Took some notes so I'd keep from rambling on. It's always great, it's always great to see such effort and consideration put into our communities for the good of our people and their small businesses and ultimately their livelihoods. The Wave Street Studio is truly a remarkable place. I can full-heartedly and confidently say that anyone that might even have mixed feelings about the place and its existence has probably never even been there. I've been in the real estate industry for many, many years with a focus on commercial and small businesses. And in my professional opinion, the Wave Street Studio plays many, many roles here in the local community. It brings people together, offers a state-of-the-art venue for people to enjoy the meaning of life with their various functions and events, and also as a platform for aspiring artists. This entire region has a hyper emphasis on art, so anything but support would really be contradictory. The mission statement was referenced earlier. I thought that was brilliant. And as a musician myself, I fell in love with the place immediately. In fact, I think we should probably get a little concert going and invite these guys so you guys know what the place is all about. And the owner, Rhett, is just a complete gentleman. If you don't know him, get to it. I urge that we as a community provide more support rather than obstacles for the Wave Street Studio, a small business that keeps our community lively and heavily contributes to the vibe that this city is known for. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Bob Oliver. Amazing group of people here supporting this project. It's not an intensification project, really, and it shouldn't be seen that way. This gentleman that owns this building and this business has a 20-year history of running it with no negative effect to the city of Monterey, and a tremendous benefit to the community and all of the people that he has served. I ask that you allow this project the way he requested it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Dane Torres. I too am a CHMB student. I've known Rent since 2022. I originally came to Rent because my friend, a mutual friend, introduced us. I had no idea how to use a camera. I had all these big dreams and aspirations, but no way to learn that. I have since enrolled into CHMB and I'm still nurturing that talent. Without Rhett, none of that would have been possible. I wouldn't have been able to put food on my table or learn and keep continuing my progression as a videographer, production assistant, and all those things. And through that time, I've also learned that Rhett has also brought so much business to Monterey County. He not only Monterey County, but bringing people from everywhere around the world, from Salinas, really building a community. I've been a part of Juneteenth events. I've been a part of jazz events. I've been a part of Garrett's podcast. I've been able to do all these things. And without Rhett, that none of that would have been possible. That's to say that what Rhett's been doing is he's making dreams happen, because where I'm from, Salinas, 20 minutes away, it's very difficult. And even here it's difficult, but with Rhett, there's no red tape. We can, organize an event and we can have a lot of fun. We can meet people, which I think is very, very important. I feel like our communities should be together more so than they are apart. And I sometimes feel there is a divide, that Rhett's location breaks that divide. We're all able to come together and learn as, videographers, musicians, and have an experience together that's unique, that there's been few spots where I feel this sense of camaraderie and community. And Rhett has always been supportive. Anyone that has come in here has always given someone the time and effort that they deserve, that most places won't even give you the shot, whether it's, whatever issues. All right, thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is John Millman. I live here in Monterey. Who can argue with this? And what city anywhere wouldn't want this there in their city?
Enough said.
Good afternoon. My name is Steve Vagnini. I've been a resident of Monterey since 1976. And in addition to my regular job, I've been promoting live music in the Monterey Peninsula for over 40 years. And I've had the opportunity to do some events at the Wave Street Studios. I was one of the 20 letters that was sent to the Planning Commission in support of this project, but that was before I saw the conditions. And like one of the previous speakers, I believe it was Dennis Murphy said, and he has a vested interest, I have a vested interest. I would like to put on some concerts there. And we're not talking about live, loud rock and roll. I'm talking about intimate concerts where you have, I think, 65 to 70 people is what will work. So I'm very supportive of this project. I hope the Planning Commission will move forward and make a recommendation to the City Council that approval. However, I think you need to take a closer look at some of the conditions placed on it because it just would not be economically feasible. And as you heard Rhett Smith say, he spent a lot of money, a lot of time, has so much goodwill in this community. So I appreciate all the comments made before me, and I hope you'll move forward with alleviating some of these restrictive conditions. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Mike Buffo. I'm fourth generation Monterey Italian. I went away to school and to Los Angeles, and I came back because this community really it cherishes our stories and our history. And Wave Street Studios is one of the pillars of storytelling in our community. And a lot of people don't know about it, especially if you're not from around this area. You never heard of Wave Street Studios. But when somebody from outside this area needs to produce a TV show or an interview or something involving production, they tend to call me. I'm one of the first listed, House of 8 Media. And I tell them about Wave Street Studios. I do a location scout video and I tell them about it and they're very impressed. And then we have a great production. So I want to keep that going. And what we have envisioned is really only limited by what we know now. But if you give Rhett and Judy the support that they're asking for, we really don't know what we can do there, but we can do some amazing things. And Monterey's name will be on all of these stories. You're not just dealing with this is not a restaurant. This is not people who are marketing just to our region. Wave Street Studios can market to the world, and Monterey's name will be on it. So I want you to weigh that carefully in the back of your mind about what story you want to write today, and not to push this issue, push it along, kick it down the road, but you can actually take action and create just to help Wave Street to tell these stories and help Monterey's name and all the economic development that will come behind that. So thank you for your help and support in imagining that.
Hello, I'm Jemias Henry. I'm an artist and a student athlete. I met Rhett and I became aware of Wave Street Studios about 10 years ago when I first moved here. But last year I was granted the opportunity to literally work in the studio free of charge and to perfect my crafts and things of that nature. And I met a group of people. I met some great people who was there doing other works. They were there also free of charge, perfecting their crafts and doing things of that nature, learning. I think Wave Street is an amazing thing for artists like myself. I also think it would be like egregious to like not allow this place to flourish to its fullest potential and like what it would bring to the area. Like I think this should be allowed because it's no harm to the community. It's literally like it's a glue. It's already an American history, a part of American history, and it's much more, but it has to be allowed to flourish till its fullest potential. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Hello, you guys. I've known Rhett and Judy for 13 years now. Moved into the area
13 years ago, I own 3 different businesses I do in the area. Part of that, I was the general manager for Valley Yellow Pages, so I know advertising and marketing. And what you have in Wave Street Studios is a place that is going worldwide for Monterey and what it can bring economically. And just with all the different cultures and things of that nature and what you've heard from other people today, it's amazing. You know, if you haven't experienced it, you should. You should definitely, go and experience this, this venue. It's something that, I just know from the many years of advertising, public speaking, and different things that I've done and been a part of. To have this in our town, in our city, is remarkable. Not many cities get to have such a thing and to do it the way Judy and Rhett do. They're sustainable. They take care of the property in that way. It's a green property. It sets a good example. If you see what's going on, around the world these days and everything, what you have at Wave Street Studios is a microphone and a video of sustainable practices and, yoga from all over the world, and just things of this nature are needed at this point on the planet. And so anyway, I just thought I'd get up and share, just in the world of advertising and promotions, you can't have a better quality than Wave Street Studios. You really can't. Of its size, it's not Warner Brothers or something of that nature, but it really is a beautiful setting. He's done an incredible job there. So go and enjoy it.
Thank you. Is that it? One more, please.
My name's Paula Arnold. I'm co-owner of Dennis Murphy School of Music. We've been around 14 years and we're very involved in the music community. We've attended many wonderful functions at Wave Street Studios, and it is a real bonus, a real added benefit to all of us in the music community and to the patrons that we see that attend. And I just would like to encourage you to really think about how much of a benefit it would be to us for you to move forward on this.
Thank you. Do we have any hands raised on the internet?
There are no hands raised.
No hands raised. Oh,
Can we just quickly remind the public online how to participate in the meeting?
Sure. Once again, information on participating in this meeting and providing public comment, including remotely by Zoom or telephone, is on this meeting's agenda, which is online at isearchmonterey.org. This PC webinar ID is 161-990-8039. And again, information on providing public comment can be found at isearchmonterey.org. It looks like a hand briefly went up and then went down. There are 4 attendees online. I still don't see any hands raised.
okay. So we'll end the public meeting and bring it back to
The hand,
comments from the.
the hand just went up again.
Hand went up again?
Yes.
Why
Then
don't
it went
you-
down.
Why don't you invite them? It could be,
Okay,
it could
it's
be,
back up.
could be a butt dial.
I'll go ahead and allow Aura to speak.
What's the last 3 numbers?
It's a name Aura.
Or
I've asked them to unmute. Can you hear us?
Can you hear me?
beautiful.
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, hi. Good afternoon. My name is Aura Alida Edwin. I intended to attend, but I didn't make it. But I've had my hand raised for the whole time, but it keeps saying they don't see anyone raised. But anyway, I'm one of the first that helped Red Smith produce a small pilot show, supposedly for a TV show, and it's a dance show. I want to mention that because when you mentioned about noise, we didn't hear anything complaints about the noise at that time, and it's a dance show, so there should be a lot of noise. I mean, there's a lot of music, and it's a salsa show. Also, there were about maybe at least like 3 dance groups that came to perform, and I don't recall there was any problem with the limited use of the bathroom because they constantly have to change their costume, and when there was mention about the noise, I was wondering after all these years, the noise in the slide bar is constantly very loud, and that's in the same street as Wave Street. So I don't know why there hasn't been any complaint. If I compare that to the noise that you would hear from Wave Street Studio, I don't think it's comparable. Fast forward to today, I've promoted Wave Street Studios in New York, in the Bay Area, pretty much in other countries. And I'm about to bring a list. There's a list of multi-Grammy nominated bands.
Hey, Aura, your
Thank
time
you
is
for
up.
your comment.
No mas. Okay. Comments from the crowd.
Close public meeting.
Yeah, we close the public meeting and have comments from the, yes, sir, Peter.
It's obvious from the testimony that we just heard how inspirational this applicant, Mr. Smith, is within the community here. And he's developed a project that's been a labor of love for a long time. And I think it's a terrific project. I think it's fabulous. It's has the potential to transform the area in many ways. And I'm just totally in support of it. So.
Good. No clapping and no booing.
I
Yes,
think
sir.
this project stinks. Oh, no. No, it's a great project. I'm gonna get tarred and feathered. Yeah, great project. And it's really, it's wonderful to see this artistic community all coming out in force. So this is like a full court press here, with all the letters and the testimony. And good work. We also have staff support in the project. So it's, look, I'm in support of the project. I don't see any angry neighbors or anything. So it's a good application.
Sandy?
Sure, I echo that. Let's just clarify, are we gonna let the mobile food people go 8 to 8 or noon to 8?
That's a question.
Okay,
Should we take a side vote on that?
I think we're gonna have to make a finding on it.
Yeah.
okay. Great project. I've been there a couple of times for a live recording. It's just a wonderful location. And the thing that really impresses me about the city of Monterey is that they leave the outdoor space alone. It has not turned into, vagrant dwellings, and yet is accessed by the rec trail without any gates or bars or anything. Super. So full support. It was just a clarification what the hours of the mobile food vendor should be.
And I also have a question about the public space. Like that's really not public space that the city was kind of aiming at. The first floor, like the floor of the height of the trail.
You mean the public space? It appears to be public space just off the rec trail.
Yeah.
But it appears to be private space off of Wave Street.
Yeah, I'd say.
There needs to be a clarification.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to continue all the good thoughts about this project. I really like seeing an historic resource in Monterey getting reused and reapplied in a way that benefits the community. And we've seen it done at Perry Walter and at Cooper Malero. This is a different thrust for that. I think it really benefits the community to see that type of activity happen, particularly when it's really bringing something new that's going to benefit everybody in the community. And I think I would like to follow up with what Mike was saying. And there are some of the conditions of approval that we need to look at, and it would be good to know from staff, what we would need to add to the conditions of approval to cover some of the issues that that Rhett had brought up in his presentation.
Sure. And I think it'd probably be the easiest just for staff to first go through clarify the conditions that we have already identified that needed modifications and that we support those changes, and then build from there. But we can do that now, or should we wait until after all the commissioners have provided comments?
I would think just wait for all the other commissioners and we
Let's wait
can
till
address
the end.
it.
Then I can chime back in.
Yes, sir.
Help speed it up. And there's nothing more I can add to what my colleagues have already said. There's no reason, absolutely no reason for me not to support this project. I think it's great. So.
Mr. Mike.
A couple of comments. First of all, I'm not anti-food trucks. I really appreciate the diversity of foods I can get. Yeah, on the issue of noise, whether or not this site would produce noise, particularly to residents, the city of Monterey has been smart in that they have a review process in 1 year. Typically, then we would see if there's any complaints. Listening to the presentations, I don't see it. What I do see is that this is another niche that may be an introduction to a niche that Monterey can walk into. As I said earlier, County Row is kind of our entertainment area, and we have seen all kinds at this planning commission of different suggestions, and I wish them all luck, because the diversity of this peninsula, people gravitate to Cannery Row from all over the peninsula and Central Coast, particularly on warm weather in the valley. So I'm in support of this project. I think the cultural advantages that we will gain from it also enrich in our peninsula.
Okay, Mr. Levi.
Yeah, sure. So as it pertains to the conditions of approval, and as Chris already noted in his presentation, there are a few conditions that staff has identified that since the staff report was published, should be modified and are supported by staff. So I'll go through those. Special condition number 1, this is where it outlines the permitted uses that would be approved in this approval. The applicant did point out to staff that they were concerned with the limitation of 50 people for 2 hours, 2 to 3 times per week for the live set recordings. We agree with that, given that they would now be allowed to have a music venue with an unlimited amount of events, that is an unnecessary restriction. So we are recommending striking that part of that limitation out of the condition of approval. And that's special condition number 1. Special condition number 3 pertains to the parking adjustment fees that we already kind of spoke about. So staff's recommending a modification of that condition, just stipulating that the remaining parking adjustment fees from planning permit P03-250 will be paid in accordance with the parking agreement contract that the applicant has with the city. And then staff, as Chris noted, the applicant has now requested to expand the mobile food vending permissions from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. And that is in accordance with the provisions of the city code. So staff is also in support of that change.
My experience with music people is they are not up at 8. Just saying.
It was a request for the applicant. So yeah, we'll defer to them. So beyond those, staff's not recommending any other changes to the conditions of approval.
Okay.
Oh, wait, what about the right of access, public space from the rec trail that Rhett brought up?
So that was a community benefit that was negotiated in the original approval from 2003. That condition was carried over word from the previous approval, and staff still supports that condition.
That was, but Brett did not support that.
That was, I think there was some issue with it.
Yeah.
We closed the public
Sorry,
hearing.
we can't open it up again. Sorry.
I think that that would resolve itself. We will be reviewing typically this process in a year. So if there's an issue with
But the difficulty is that if it's public space, then
access,
it's going
I
to
think
be,
it will come up probably in the form of complaints from either the applicant or
I just don't want to wait a year. Yeah.
anybody else have any thoughts?
No.
Well, when I look at that particular condition, I'm not sure how this works. The condition is that public access must be available during certain times of the day, but there's a gate that also has to be put in place. So is the gate, there doesn't seem to be any requirement that the gate be open. It can be locked, perhaps,
That's right.
and there's no special condition about the security of this gate.
Well, see, the thing is, for me, if you're not allowed to make a delivery from the rec trail, then how are you going to keep that? How are you going to make that public?
Yeah.
Typically, those things sort themselves one way or another, and that's why we have staff and other agencies to deal with that.
Yeah.
Well, and the benefit here to the condition as it's stated is that a gate can be installed along Wave Street frontage and the recreation trail, so that if the owner sees a problem coming before the year is up,
Yeah.
he can put in a fence and a gate. There isn't one now. There hasn't been a problem.
Okay, so that is allowed.
Right, it's written right here.
Right.
Number 7, it can be installed, so I think
Okay.
that conditions will dictate whether it will be or not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm happy with that.
It's the timing of it between the 8 AM and 5 PM.
Yeah,
Exactly.
It doesn't seem like much of an issue.
Doesn't really.
but then there's nobody from that society that's going to be up at 8. I'm
What
sorry.
about emotion?
Yeah, how about a motion?
Okay, I move to approve 774 Wave Street use permit application UP 230151 to allow live entertainment dancing with Type 90 ABC license, parenthesis, music venue, and mobile food vending on private property exceeding 2 hours, subject to 3 conditions that our planning director has just read.
Gotcha.
I'll second.
Second by Bob. Any other comments before we call for the motion, for the vote? Okay, can we have a roll call,
I
please?
just wanted to say on the,
Sorry.
on the food, the mobile food thing, we've approved those before.
Yes, we
It
have.
usually works out really well. So the project is great. I'm in support of it.
And the one by, the one by, what?
Decibel.
Yeah,
It's down at the old train station.
right.
Yeah.
It's still there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hasn't moved.
Nope.
Okay, can we have a roll call, please?
Sure. Chair Dawson,
Yes.
Vice Chair Bluth,
Yes.
Commissioner Brassfield,
Yeah.
Commissioner Fletcher,
Yes.
Commissioner Freeman,
Yes.
Commissioner Latassa,
Yes.
Commissioner Silva.
Yes.
That motion carries with a vote of 7. The decision is appealable to the city council within 10 days. We have applications online or in our planning office.
Congratulations. Okay, so we have some news from the planning commission or planning department.
Sure. So not much more than what's listed in the planning update from the staff report. But I will note that we did I'll just allow the room to clear up. So yeah, just to follow up to the March 19th City Council meeting, the City Council did adopt a resolution that accepted the 2003 General Plan Annual Reports. So the Planning Division will be submitting those to the Office of Planning and Research with the State of California. And that's it.
What is the status of,
Please, folks, please take it outside so we can finish.
what is the status of HCD's comments on the housing element?
I can't hear it.
Okay.
Yeah. Keep it down, folks. Yes, sir. Mr. Levi.
Sorry, can you repeat that, Commissioner Silva?
Sure. I was wondering what the status is of HCD's comments on the housing element.
Sure. Yes, we are meeting weekly with HCD staff. We are looking to resubmit our draft housing element with revisions based on their comments to the state at the end of next week. They do statutorily have 60 days to respond to that resubmittal, but we are optimistic that we will get comments or a positive acceptance prior to that.
Okay. Is there going to be any schedule for another planning commission appearance regarding the housing element?
Not to the planning commission. It will go back to the city council for adoption, and that will be a noticed public hearing.
Okay, thank you.
And I shall also note that the EIR that was prepared for the general plan update and the housing element update, the public comment period did end at 5 o'clock yesterday. So we're part of the way there.
Okay. I have a question for Kim, if you don't mind. I know that Christy was in communication with me regarding the draft LCP. And she had indicated a few days ago to me that staff would prioritize getting the LCP moving forward after the general plan has been finalized. Is there a timetable on that? Do you know?
So our project team is regularly meeting and working on the LCP. And so I don't have a specific timeline for you yet. A little bit of it is waiting on the housing element certification. And we're making substantial progress. So we hope to have sections and drafts to present to you
Okay, great.
in this calendar year, if not a complete plan.
Awesome. Thank you.
Any comments from the permission here? No comments?
Oh, yeah. City of Monterey was gracious enough to send Bob and I down to the League of California Cities Planning Commission Academy. There's a lot of things there, and Bob and I are going to be setting a meeting with Levi to go over a lot of the things. But one of the things that came out at that presentation we addressed, and that is to have a city attorney come in and explain to commissioners exactly how findings work. And that sometimes staff may make some findings and the commission may wish to make some additional or fewer findings. But there's some legalities that need to be covered. And so we're going to be asked, that's one of the things I'm talking about here, that we'll be talking to Levi about, is that those are the kind of things that you get when you go to these informational presentations. And if you haven't been to one in a couple of years, put your name on the list. And that's all I'll say today.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, I think it was really very useful. Particularly learning about CEQA and a lot of the details, what staff does, the roles of what the planning commission does and what staff should be doing. We're very insightful. And I think I don't want to, go through a lot with everybody, but I think following through with Mike's suggestion, getting with Levi, going over some of the things that we learned would be probably valuable for all. I would recommend that we try to figure out how to connect the other planning commissions within the general area together. That might be nice to be able to share information. I met people from Marina and other cities within our area, and that was really pretty useful. I think there's a lot going on that we could take advantage of. I certainly think the the city should try to do the same. There were a number of presentations involving tours of other cities and some of the things that they're trying to do to get their hands on around RENA. But plagiarism to me is probably a very good tool. And if somebody's invented the wheel, being able to see that brought for us would be helpful. On a separate note, I did take my daughter to the fire department's jump house activity a couple weeks ago. And I met with Robert Kimmick with Monterey Fire Department. And the impression I had there was that they don't really have any idea of what's going on with the wireless installations that are going on in the city. They knew about a wireless at the Marriott Hotel. Other than that, they had no idea. And I think I don't want to give Robert duties that he doesn't have, but the impression I had was that he was responsible for the training and doing things that would be related to wireless safety. And so it might be worthwhile, Levi, to maybe see if you could get with Robert Kimmick and just see what might be helpful for the fire department to be able to be more aware of what's going on with the wireless installations. I think it kind of follows up with what Mike had been mentioning in previous meetings.
Yeah. Good idea. No mess? Okay, we're out of here.